Hello, apprentice electricians. My name is Thomas Hicken. I'm the department head over the apprenticeship, and I'm here to present to you an instructional video on the Electrician lab. I'm really excited about a lot of the changes that we've made in the Electrician lab. We have more tools, more boards, more practice opportunities for you to prepare for your practical test than we've ever had before. And it's really exciting to be able to get that into your hands and to give you that opportunity and experience to learn. That is the purpose for the lab. There are a lot of things that we could show you that would relate to your trade, but our focus with the Electrician lab is to help you get the exact experiences that you need so that when it's time for your practical test, you can go with confidence, take that test, and pass it. Alright, so if you look up what is required for your practical test, there are 6 tasks that have to be performed. Most of those are just a pass-fail test, so you got to just demonstrate that you're capable. Those tasks include torque setting, transformer termination, conduit bending, motor control wiring, 3- and 4-way switch wiring, and schematic reading and wiring using a diagram. You have in the lab the doorbell circuits for that. Your instructor will introduce you to the lab room itself, which is more or less just a closet. It's not very big. We store a lot of our stuff in there, including tools and equipment. And that equipment has been made portable so that we can take it to the classrooms and have more room to work on it. That includes the boards. There's a rolling cart to make it easier to bring that to the classroom. There are extension cords and different tubs and bins that we can use to transfer that to the classroom for use there. Let's go over the rules for the Electrician lab. First of all, the circuit boards and the different equipment, as well as most of the tools that we have, are numbered. So if you're going to use those, and especially if you're going to take them out of the lab and over to the classroom, then you will need to check those out by signing a sheet. You put your name on it, the date, write what equipment you are taking and the number of that equipment so that we can keep track of that. Now, another rule is that that equipment and the tools are never to leave the building. We may transfer them to a classroom or use them here or there, but it's always to stay right here at Bridgerland. Then, of course, you're responsible to return that equipment back to the lab, put it back where you found it, the way that you found it. Tools are to be stored in the toolbox in the proper order. Conduit benders need to be hung on the wall. After having used the equipment, one of the rules is that you need to take all of the wiring, switches, bulbs, anything that you applied to the board off of the board. Return it to the original state you found it so that the next person can then, connect the switches, put in the bulbs, hook up the wires, and they don't have to take apart your work. Another important rule is that you are not to disassemble any of the boards. For example, you have the 3- and 4-way switch boards. Now, as you're trying to figure out which wire goes where, you might be tempted to take the light fixture off to trace the wires through. Please don't do that. You have no reason to get in there. How are you supposed to find which wires go where? Well, you've got an ohm meter. So you pull that out, figure out the wires. This is how you're going to do it on the state test. This is how you would have to do it in the field. So please don't be taking the boards apart. Another rule is that you are not to work on those boards while they are plugged in. Hook up your wires, get everything ready. Then when you're ready, you can plug it in and test. Make sure your instructor is aware and have him check you off on that task. Let's talk about the schedule for the lab. You'll find the schedule for your class to use the lab right in Canvas. You'll see within the modules 2 mentions of the lab. One is the practice lab and the other is a lab night. Let me explain the difference. The practice lab is time that your class has to use the lab or lab equipment on the same night as you will be covering other material within the curriculum. Your instructor will be the one to decide when and how much you will use practice labs, but the intent for that is for your instructor to be able to introduce you to the tasks of the lab, demonstrate how those are done, give you some practice time, and that way familiarize you with the lab. The lab night, on the other hand, is an evening that is entirely dedicated to the use of the lab. On that night, you'll want to come in, follow your instructor's directions, and you'll be working to pass off those specific tasks. The whole evening will be committed to proving your experience in those tasks. Now, whether you are using the lab on a practice lab evening or on a lab night, I want to point out that success for you within the lab is going to depend on you. You are going to be the one who knows what you have and have not experienced. You are going to be the one who knows what you lack. You are going to be the one who needs to seek out those opportunities, put yourself in a position where you can gain those experiences. Larger class sizes might have to work together in groups, but make sure that you also get an opportunity to actually do the wiring, to hook up the switches, or to do whatever is required so that you are personally gaining that experience and preparing yourself for that test. Keep in mind that these tasks are set to a time limit. You should be able to perform any one of the tasks within 15 minutes if you want to be able to pass your state test. So of course, a part of the lab experience is to repeat those tasks over and over so that you get better at them and quicker at them. All right, let's talk about tools for a minute. We strongly encourage you to have and to bring your own tools on a lab night or on a practice lab. The reason for this is that when you go to take your state test, you will be required to bring your own. So it's good to have them, it's good to get to know them and to know how to use them to accomplish these tasks. Now, we do have tools for you to use in the lab, but there are not enough for everyone, especially in our larger classes. So you will need to bring your own tools in most cases anyway. The tools in the lab are intended to help those who have not acquired the tools yet, or on those evenings where maybe you forgot to bring your tools. Please remember to be considerate and respectful of the other members of your class as they are working. And I must emphasize that where we are dealing with electricity, there is a danger element. Please be cautious, be careful, especially when plugging in and testing boards. We hope you have an incredible experience here as you master the tasks necessary for you to be able to pass your practical test. Your instructor is there to help you. He wants to help you. So use him as your tool to improve yourself and prepare yourself so that you can succeed and pass your state test. Good luck.